Okay, we got some facts.
When it was leaked without my consent about like struggling with anorexia, there were a fuck ton of women, and I could go to their profiles and look at them, who were commenting on my pictures saying things like, lol, this body type and you think you have anorexia. And then somebody was like, what are you talking about? And they would type things like, look at her gut, look at her, like they would like go specifically because they have it themselves,
Mm-hmm.
so they know where and what to say
It's an obsession.
to like,
Yeah.
yeah. And they want to feel, the problem with pro ana trolls is they want to feel superior because anorexia is like a competition
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, so they will go in there and say she's not as skinny as me and I wasn't even hospitalized. Like, pro ana trolls are Satan spawn. I'm serious. Alright guys, so I've been asked a lot to talk about this in the past, and I haven't made a video on it yet, and I feel bad that I haven't. It's super important to me, and I wanted to do things right, but every single time I wrote something out, it felt not good or forced. So today I'm going to be doing a non-scripted video on my struggles with BDD and anorexia, and how I've learned to overcome it, or deal with it or make it digestible, and the lessons that I've learned over the 6 years of struggling with it. Buckle up, because this is an unscripted video and I'm probably going to be telling a couple of stories, so yeah. Body dysmorphia is something that not only I've struggled with, but a lot of my family members and friends struggle with as well. I'm not sure if OCD is linked in with body dysmorphia, but definitely for me, I can get very obsessive over different parts of my body, and as I've aged, it's changed, and the things that I focus on and worry about change. But one thing is definitely for sure, I've never felt like I have a normal body even, or like a body that is acceptable. I have for a long time felt a lot of value in how thin I was, how much fat I could grab, how small the waist was on my body. And now something that I've been dealing with and focusing with is the size of my butt, which isn't fantastic. But the one thing that I've definitely learned from the 6 years of dealing with the different obsessions and dealing with, never feeling like anything was perfect, is that people don't care. And I don't mean that in a mean way, that people don't care about you. People care about you. People don't see the things that you see. In fact, people are way more likely to see the positives and be jealous of certain things that you might have that they don't, that you take for granted. I've really learned over the years that focusing on the negative is a choice, and it's definitely something I do more than not. And I'm not saying that that's 100% what BDD is, because it's definitely not, but it for sure helps when you can actually see the positives and you look at them, right? So when I was about 12 years old, I started having my first negative thoughts about my body. I felt like my back wasn't small enough, I felt like my legs were too wide, and I definitely disliked my arm size. I remember specifically posting a photo and somebody commenting on how large my arms were, and for like months after, I obsessed on my arms. I would pinch them, I would measure them. It really was the first time that I felt like my body was unacceptable. From when I was about 12 years old until I was, I would say 17, I weighed around 170 pounds, varying in weight. And it wasn't until grade 12 that I felt a massive amount of pressure to start controlling what I ate, and I started eating very little, and I went from 170 pounds to 110 pounds. Now, when I was at 110 pounds, I went to bed at 6 p.m. because I didn't have the energy to keep going. What I didn't know at the time is that when you take in less calories, you have less energy to expend, therefore you can't stay awake very long. I was sleeping at 6 p.m. and waking up at 8 a.m. to go to school, and that was my life. I had no life outside of school because I couldn't stay awake. But in contrast, at that same time, I became more confident because I could feel my hip bones. I felt like I was thin, I felt like I was appropriate, and people started treating me differently. This was probably the biggest mistake I've made, is misinterpreting people valuing my size versus people valuing me being more confident and respecting myself. I had no idea at the time that the reason why people were talking to me and treating me better was because I was being a more confident, nice human being, because I felt okay in my body, because I didn't hate myself. And I really, really mixed up the two, thinking that the more thin I got, the more people would like me. And it wasn't until I was about 22 years old, when I got into modeling, that I realized that that's really not the case. It doesn't matter if you're modeling or if you're thin or if you're whatever. If you don't like yourself, people don't like you. Because as soon as I started modeling and people started telling me to get thinner, to look different, I started hating myself again. And guess what? People started treating me like shit again because I was treating myself like shit. I think the biggest thing that I've learned from obsessing over my body and worrying about things is that the second that you allow yourself to believe that you are not worth it is the second that you allow people to treat you poorly. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that people love you and value you no matter what if you love and value yourself. Your weight really doesn't matter as much as you think it does. To be honest, I know a billion curvy women that I admire and worship and think are fantastic, but there's also a billion thin women that I admire and think are fantastic, because the women that embrace their bodies and celebrate them and are happy about them and are thankful for the things that they do have, those are the women that are attractive. Those are the people that are attractive. Your weight doesn't make you attractive, and I really had a hard time understanding that for a long time. The second thing that helped me get over what I struggled with for about 6 years was I started to get into fitness and health, but it wasn't for the aesthetic purposes. The moment that I started focusing on feeling better, lifting heavier weights, having goals, it was the time that I realized that my body is more than just something that's visual. It's mine. It's my only body, and it's how I move, and I want to better myself. And once you start working on your health and your body and bettering yourself, you overall just feel better, and because you feel better, you become more attractive. And I feel 100 times more attractive at 135 pounds than I did at 110 pounds when I was in grade 12. I really started to understand that there's certain things that you can't control. I'm never going to look like some of the women that I choose to want to look like, but that's because that's not me, and that's okay. I'm sure that there's people out there that look at me and go, man, I wish I could look like that. And you really shouldn't, because everybody's different and everybody has things that make them beautiful. And I say that, and it sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. Like, I can't think of a girl that I haven't looked at and gone, wow, you know, her hair is so nice, or her lips are fantastic, or I wish I had her legs. Like, we all do it to each other. We just don't know that people are, like, we never think people do it to us, but it happens. It definitely happens. And I think that there's been a lot of tests lately for me in keeping my self-esteem up and being okay, and a huge test for me is the internet and some of the comments and some of the things I see online. Sometimes it's really hard to try and keep in mind that, like, yes, there are negatives about my body and my face, but for every negative there's a million positives, and that's something that you really need to keep in mind, that, like, yes, people are going to point out negatives in you because that's just what the internet is, or that's what people are, but know that, like, there are a shit ton of positives that outweigh any negatives. Like, you're a human being, you're beautiful. And I really, really, really believe, and this isn't a lie at all, I really believe that anybody can be beautiful at any weight. I think that people can be unhealthy at certain weights, but I still can admire and worship the human body in all forms. And maybe that's the artist in me, I don't know, but I don't want anybody thinking that there isn't things to appreciate in yourself, because there always are. At the end of the day, I guess what I'm trying to say is there are always things to be thankful for, and the best thing that you can do, or at least for me, was stand in front of the mirror and find all the things that you like and focus on them and play them up. You know, dress to show off your nice butt, or, you know, you wear lipstick to show off your nice lips. Really play up the things that make you an individual, that make you you and beautiful, and you'll start really appreciating those things. If you take time to take care of it, you'll feel better. At least I did, and it's for sure helped me figure out who I am and what I like about myself, and building up my self-esteem has allowed me to have somebody in my life who loves me. It's allowed me to step out of my box and film myself, and these are things that I never would have done 6 years ago. I never would have filmed myself 6 years ago, but I'm here and I'm doing it. I filmed full body shots of me today, and that's something I never would have imagined even a year ago doing. So keep working at it, keep finding things that you like, keep reminding yourself that you know, you're never going to be exactly what you want, because it's impossible for everyone. Not just you, not just me, everyone. And you're beautiful, and you're worth a lot. And you're more than just physical. Be healthy, be happy, work on how you feel, work on projects that you like. Just know that you're more than a body, and that definitely has helped me. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. Thanks for listening to my story. I know it's not exactly the kind of videos that I've been putting out lately, but I thought there'd be some people that would like to hear this. I have a lot of new viewers that I really value, and I really want to be able to talk to you guys on this level, and I'll see you guys next time whenever I post. But for now, peace.